Welcome to miniatures.de, your military miniatures magazine. In this issue we are going to take a look at the Roskopf 1:100 scale Soviet T-54A main battle tank. The T-54 is armed with a 100mm D10 tank gun and a 7.62mm PKT coaxial machine gun mounted right next to the main gun, as well as a 12.7mm Dashka-M anti-aircraft machine gun. Unfortunately, Roskopf sold this tank without the anti-aircraft machine gun, so what we had to do is create a machine gun pedestal from a section of 1mm plastic rod, which we drilled right through the plastic rod and into the turret, and then we could go ahead and add a machine gun, heavy machine gun, scrounged from another Roskopf vehicle. These guns, when you buy them used, are typically broken, so we had to open up the receiver and then insert a 0.6mm section of piano wire as the new gun barrel and thread a 1mm plastic sleeve over this and use the same material to recreate the M1946 muzzle brake right here. So this is now a relatively sturdy machine gun which can handle a lot of abuse during war games. We also added the armored cover of the ventilator in front of the loader's hatch. This is just a section of 2mm plastic rod sliced off with the scalpel and glued to the turret top in front of the loader's hatch. We might have moved the commander's periscope back. This is the TPKU-1 periscope, which should be closer to the commander's hatch actually, but we decided to leave it in place and not worry about that. What we did move back was the antenna mount, which Roskopf placed here, but we used a 1mm section of plastic rod, drilled through the plastic rod into the turret, and once this tank is painted, we will add a 40mm paintbrush bristle as the whip antenna for this tank. We removed the single headlight from the turret, from the bow armor plate, and added two headlights. One is the camouflage driving light, and the other is the infrared driving light. We removed the plastic handrails that were cast onto the side of the turret, drilled holes into the turret side, and then inserted new handrails made of 0.3mm piano wire. This material is relatively difficult to work with, but it's very sturdy, so we might have had an easier job fitting these handrails if we had used brass wire, but brass wire will tend to bend more, so this is very sturdy. When the turret is turned and handled during wargaming, the piano wire handrails are absolutely sturdy and they will never bend out of shape. So we use these even though they were more difficult to fit. We added auxiliary fuel tanks at the back, and to improve their stability we added an unditching log underneath. So the auxiliary gas fuel tanks are glued to the back of the hull and to the top of the unditching log, and that just gives us a more sturdy connection between these parts. Otherwise the auxiliary fuel tanks would tend to snap off if the vehicle is handled. We also removed the carpet rollers, so this tank sits on its tracks properly, and we finished this underside by gluing plastic taken from a yogurt cup to the underside of the tank and close these holes. The T-54 and T-55 are the most produced tanks in history. An estimated 40,000 to 50,000 of these vehicles were built in the Soviet Union, And some of the surviving T-55s were even reactivated for the Russian invasion of Ukraine recently, when they were running out of other tanks to use and have destroyed in Ukraine. So, there you have it. This tank is a 1:100 scale vehicle, so it is compatible with 18mm plastic or metal miniatures, and with other products from the Team Yankee wargaming system. So if you're playing Team Yankee and you're interested in a really attractive, sturdy and well-made T-54 tank, you may want to try finding these online at auctions or at flea markets. They're very cheap. You don't have to spend a lot of money on one of these, and you can create your own tank platoons using this historic antique vehicle. Thank you for watching. For more information, you're welcome to visit our website at miniatures.de.